He called for a towel, his voice echoing slightly from the tiled bathroom. I was trying to focus on my constitutional law textbook, but the sound of the shower shutting off had already broken my concentration. A hand, lean and familiar, appeared through the crack in the door. I placed the folded cotton into his grip. I told him this was the last time. He just laughed. A low, easy sound that I felt more than heard. A moment later, he swung the door open, a cloud of steam billowing out around him. He leaned against the frame, a smirk playing on his lips as he asked for my opinion. He flexed, his chest broadening under my gaze. He was proud of his physique, boasting about how the Omegas on campus would kill for a chance to touch what I, his best friend, could feel for free. Before I could protest, he grabbed my hand and pressed it flat against his pectoral muscle, making it jump beneath my palm. He asked if my year at the campus rec center had paid off. I stood half a foot taller than him, and in the humid haze of the bathroom, I hoped he couldn't see the expression on my face. My voice came out rougher than usual when I agreed that it had. He wasn't satisfied, guiding my hand lower, over the hard ridges of his abdomen, talking about how his six-pack had become 8, how his thighs were stronger. He was a proud alpha, and this was his moment of triumph after a year of relentless training. But as his hand pulled mine toward his stomach, something in me snapped. I yanked my arm back, the sudden motion sharp. I told him I didn't have time for his games, that I had a paper due. It was a lie. We were barely a week into the fall semester. I hardly knew my professors' names. I turned and shut the door with a definitive click, leaving him looking confused, towel in hand. I leaned against the wood, my heart hammering. He was so oblivious. He thought I was jealous of his muscles, that I, the lanky academic, felt inferior. He didn't understand that the casual way he offered his body was a specific kind of torture. Later that night, long after the lights were out, I felt the mattress dip. "Liam." I asked him what he was doing, my voice a strained whisper thick with a sleep I wasn't faking and a desire I was. A wave of his warm amber and honey scent washed over me, rich and overwhelming. It was the scent of an S-class alpha, a scent he should have been able to control effortlessly. It only ever leaked out like this when he was sick or in rut. I asked if he was okay. He clicked on his phone's flashlight, ignoring my plea to keep it dark. The sudden brightness was blinding. I threw an arm over my eyes as he crawled closer. My own phone screen, which I'd hastily locked, had been displaying a picture of him. I saw his gaze flicker to it for a fraction of a second before he reached out and flicked the front of my boxers. He joked that he thought I was ill, not just taking care of business. The lime and bergamot of my own pheromones were thick in the air, a testament to my lack of control. I pulled the comforter over my lap and told him to get out. He refused, settling in beside me, elbowing me playfully. He asked which professor's picture I was looking at so he could avoid their class, joking about their lack of effectiveness. My ears burned. He was so close, completely unaware of the effect he had on me. He said it was the first time in our 2 years of rooming together he'd actually seen me like this, since I always refused to shower or change with him. He then offered a genuine compliment on my size, musing that any Omega would be lucky to have me. I was used to his crude humor, usually shutting it down with a sharp glare. But tonight, broken and needy, I heard myself ask if he really thought so. His response was immediate and confident, confirming that no alpha dislikes being praised for their prowess. He patted the tent in my blanket and joked that if he were an Omega, he'd definitely let me give him a good time. My breath hitched. I asked if he meant it. He said, of course, completely oblivious. That was all it took. The scent of lime and bergamot exploded in the small room, a tidal wave of need. His eyes widened as he realized my rut was hitting, and he turned to get an inhibitor from his desk. I moved faster, grabbing his ankle and pulling him back down, pinning him beneath me. His scent was intoxicating. I buried my face in his neck, breathing him in, and told him how good he smelled. He just laughed, proudly stating that his rare honey pheromone was one of a kind. I could feel my canines ache, the urge to bite, to claim, becoming an all-consuming fire. I couldn't hold it back any longer. He was too heavy, my body too hot against his, the hard ridge of my erection pressing into his lower back. He told me to get up so he could grab the inhibitor. I didn't move, my fingers tracing the outline of his gland. Our pheromones were mingling now, twisting together, amplifying each other until the air was electric. By the time he sensed the real danger, it was too late. My teeth sank into the soft flesh of his neck. A sharp, powerful surge of my own pheromones flooded his system. He cried out, his body arching in pain as I held him down, lacing my fingers through his, refusing to let go. My scent was a poison and an ecstasy in his veins. His gland grew hot, his limbs went slack, and his eyes filled with tears. He was experiencing the beginnings of an omega's heat. He pleaded with me to stop, reminding me that he was an alpha, his best friend, not someone I could mark. Something in his words, the desperate denial, pushed me over the edge. I tore at his pajama pants, my voice a low, obsessive murmur against his skin. I told him he smelled so good, that I wanted him to have my baby. He struggled, a fresh wave of panic giving him strength, but went rigid when he felt the full extent of my arousal against him. He begged me to snap out of it. Even lost in the haze, some part of my academic brain answered his confused protest. I explained that alphas had a reproductive cavity, that if you went deep enough, you could. The next thing I knew, I was waking up in the University Medical Center. My head throbbed, and a metallic taste coated my tongue. A nurse explained they had flushed the volatile pheromones from my system. The door opened and Liam walked in, looking pale but unharmed. My heart clenched with guilt. I apologized, my voice raspy through the protective muzzle they'd fitted over my jaw. I asked if it still hurt. He just puffed out his chest and declared with false bravado that a little bite was nothing. I managed a weak smile, relieved. I offered to buy him dinner as an apology. Before we could even order at the food court downtown, a call from the resident advisor changed everything. They said an Enigma and an Alpha couldn't live together. It was a rule. I watched the defiance in Liam's eyes, saw him scoff at the idea. He argued that we had a year's supply of inhibitors. But rules were rules. With our other two roommates on a road trip, he was the only one left to help me move my things into the single dorm reserved for cases like mine. The new room was an upgrade, a private bathroom with a tub, a small kitchen, even a workout space. I saw the envy on his face. I handed him an iced lime seltzer and told him he could come over whenever he liked. His face lit up, then fell. He reminded me of his new condition, the temporary heats he'd be experiencing for the next 3 months. He worried he might accidentally pounce on me and mark me. I had to stop myself from laughing. I was an E. He was an A. He insisted that he was stronger, and as long as I wasn't in a rut, he could easily overpower me and mark me back. To prove his point, he lifted his shirt, showing off his abs. I looked at his earnest, determined face and asked him what score he got on his high school health final. He proudly announced he'd gotten a 0, having used his small-town transfer exemption to skip the useless subject. I looked at him, at the beautiful, ridiculous man I was in love with, and fell silent. After a long moment, I told him an Alpha couldn't mark an Enigma, so I was perfectly safe. He was delighted. He took a spare key, promising to come over the next night to be my personal trainer. A club dinner came up unexpectedly. I forgot to tell him. When his video call came through, I was in the restaurant's bathroom trying to rinse my mouth out. He'd bought my favorite Cajun crawfish and was asking when I would. His voice died. His face, projected on my phone screen propped on the counter, went still. His usually calm expression tightened. A voice from outside the stall, Evan's voice, called out, telling me to spit it out, not to swallow, that he had plenty more saved for me. The truth was, a rogue chili pepper in the spicy crawfish had set my mouth on fire, and Evan was trying to give me his yogurt drink to cool it down. I wiped the white residue from the corner of my mouth and mumbled that I could take 300 more rounds of crawfish. When I looked down to speak to Ethan, the call was already disconnected. I felt like death the next day. It wasn't until late afternoon that I remembered I had ghosted him. I picked up some cupcakes from his favorite bakery and went to his dorm to apologize. I found him sitting on the floor, surrounded by his textbooks, a dark cloud hanging over him. I pulled him to his feet, asking what was wrong. His dark eyes were fixed on my lips. He asked what I was doing here, his voice cold. As I was about to explain, his nose twitched. His brow furrowed, and before I knew it, he was dragging me into his bathroom, telling me I stank and that I needed to wash up before coming out. I protested that Evan's sandalwood pheromone was pleasant, but seeing the look on his face, I gave in. 15 minutes later, wearing his clothes, I came out to find him slightly calmer. As we ate the cupcakes, he asked casually if I was dating someone. I said no. He pressed, asking about the previous night. I explained it was just me and the freshman just messing around. The fork in his hand bent slightly. He looked at me, his expression unreadable, and after a long, tense moment, he asked if I had eaten his. I cut him off, nodding enthusiastically, explaining how eager Evan had been, how he'd peeled so much crawfish for me my mouth was full. I recounted the morning's digestive misery, how my stomach and my ass had been on fire. The glass in his hand shattered. I checked his fingers for cuts, relieved to find none. But then it hit me. A suffocating wave of lime and bergamot, sharp and acidic with distress. It wasn't clean and refreshing like usual. It was oppressive. My own gland began to throb in response. I scrambled for an inhibitor and jabbed it into my thigh. The heat subsided. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his temples, looking utterly exhausted. I suggested that relying on inhibitors wasn't a long-term solution, that maybe he should find an omega or even an alpha to help him out. After all, he was famously immune to the charms of omegas. For 2 years, I was the only person he'd let get close. If I hadn't seen the evidence with my own eyes the other night, I would have thought he was asexual. He finally opened his eyes, his gaze intense. He told me there was an alpha he liked. My heart sank. He explained that the guy was straight and seemed unreceptive to the idea of being with another man. I slapped my thigh, calling him a genius with a block for a head. I told him he was an enigma now. He could have anyone. With his looks, grades, and pheromones, not to mention his other assets, he could seduce any alpha. A faint blush appeared on his ears. I sent him a link to a guide, telling him that with stubborn alphas, sometimes a more direct, forceful approach was more effective than a slow burn. He looked at me, a strange, thoughtful expression on his face, and nodded slowly. On the way back to my dorm, a sour feeling settled in my gut at the thought of Ethan, my best friend, belonging to someone else. But life continued. He still saved me a seat in lectures, brought me coffee, and tutored me in calculus. The only difference was his wardrobe. The plain white shirts and black pants were replaced by deep V-necks and tailored trousers. One day in class, as he leaned over to explain a problem, all I could focus on was the smooth expanse of his collarbone. I felt a surge of irrational anger. I'd known him for 2 years and had barely seen his chest, yet this new guy was getting the full show. He must have noticed my mood because he asked what was wrong. I grumbled that he was dressed too provocatively, that a dozen alphas in the room were sending him mating signals, and yet his target hadn't made a move. I froze, shocked by my own jealous tone. I looked up and caught a flicker of deep satisfaction in his eyes before he masked it. He told me his crush wasn't one of them. Then, his fingers rested on my thigh, tapping a light rhythm. He leaned closer, his voice a low murmur just for me. And besides, he thought he was getting through to him. That night, I beat the hell out of 2 punching bags at the rec center, but his confident words echoed in my head. I got back late and had to climb the ivy trellis to get into my dorm. I opened the door to a scene. Jake was sprawled in his gaming chair, breathing heavily, while Noah, who had been kneeling between his legs, shot up, face bright red, trying to hide a sausage he'd been eating. My gym bag dropped to the floor. I stammered, pointing out they were both alphas. Jake zipped up his pants and calmly explained that since I was from a small town, I might not know that this is how guys in the city helped each other out. Noah mumbled an agreement, adding that historical figures were rumored to have done the same. I was skeptical, but later that night I texted Ethan, asking about it. He replied instantly, asking why I was spouting nonsense. I told him what I saw. His reply was immediate and definitive. Yes, absolutely, Noah was right. It was the most effective way for close friends to bond, especially during a rut, where a temporary mark could ease the suffering. I'd never seen him type so much at once. I felt a pang of disappointment. I told him I had planned to help him like that during his next rut. But since he was close to getting his man, I supposed he wouldn't need me. I sent a thumbs down emoji. He replied with an emoji of a gavel. He was telling me not to interfere with his love life, or he'd bring the hammer down. The message was clear. For the next 2 weeks, I turned down every invitation to his dorm. During the campus charity marathon, I was assigned to the same volunteer station as Evan. He was teasing me, playfully squeezing my chest, asking why I was so guarded with everyone but him. Before he could explain his big-chested guys are meant to be pampered theory, a strong hand grabbed my arm and yanked me back against a hard, familiar chest. Ethan. His jaw was tight, his presence radiating a chilling coldness. Without a word, he stripped the volunteer vest off me, the one Evan had just touched, and threw it in a trash can. He told me we were leaving. I tried to protest, but Evan just gave me a weird, knowing smirk. On the walk back to his dorm, the silence was heavy. We ran into Noah, who glanced at the red finger marks on my wrist where Ethan was gripping me and asked if I'd been in physical contact with an Omega. I confirmed that I had. Noah slipped a small, square foil packet into Ethan's pocket, wished him good luck, and hurried away. I had never seen Ethan so unhinged. He pushed me into his bathtub and threw a bottle of lime-scented body wash at me, ordering me to get clean. I felt a surge of hurt and anger. I wasn't dirty. I demanded to know what his problem was. He didn't answer, instead scrubbing my chest so hard it turned red and raw. I finally snapped, shoving him away. I told him that if he was so disgusted by me because I was from the country, then we could stop being friends. He stumbled back against the sink, letting out a pained grunt. He accused me of avoiding him because of that Omega, asking if I liked him, if I had been with him that night. I was too angry to answer. I rinsed off and pulled on a t-shirt, ready to leave. But as I turned, he swayed and collapsed against me. His skin was burning up. The scent of lime exploded in the small bathroom, and my own gland began to pulse with heat. Another rut so soon. I helped him to his bed, intending to get an inhibitor, but he grabbed me, pulling me down on top of him. His eyes were red-rimmed, his expression shattered. He sounded like a lost child when he asked if I didn't like him anymore, now that he was an enigma. When I didn't answer, the light in his eyes dimmed. He let me go, telling me to leave to go find my omega. He said he'd just take more inhibitors, that he might end up brain damaged in a psychiatric hospital, but he wouldn't die. The doctors echoed in my ears. For an enigma, overusing inhibitors could lead to permanent foraminal collapse. Finding a compatible partner was the only real solution. I looked down at him, at the proud, brilliant Ethan, reduced to this miserable state. I remembered Noah's words. With a sigh of resignation, I ripped the blocker patch off my neck. The scent of honey filled the air, immediately enveloped by his lime. I leaned down, offering my neck to his lips. I told him to go ahead, to bite me. It hurt. God, it hurt. For a temporary mark, it felt like he was branding my soul. But even that wasn't enough. He shifted beneath me, his arousal hot and insistent against my stomach, and whispered that he was still in pain. My face flushed, my heart hammering. I didn't know what to do. Seeing my hesitation, he looked away, his voice laced with defeat. He said it was okay, that he wasn't good enough to be my best friend, not like Jake and Noah were to each other. He told me not to worry, that he wouldn't blame me for not wanting to help. He could just hold it in until something burst. He could live with the pain. Damn him. I grabbed his chin, my voice harsh. I told him to shut up, that no one, not even him, could question my loyalty to my best friend. If this was what he needed, then I would do it. I steeled myself and lowered my head, completely missing the flash of triumph in his eyes. It was exhausting. My jaw ached, my wrist was sore, but 2 hours later, his fever had subsided and the pheromones were under control, for now. An enigma's rut was long. I couldn't abandon him halfway. I called my RA, faked a family emergency, and for the next 2 weeks I didn't leave his room. But I had underestimated the stamina of an enigma. 2 days in, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I posted on a campus forum, desperate for advice. My best friend is in rut. My hands and mouth are shot. What else can I do?
Urgent.
The replies were instant. It's your best bro? Easy. Let him inside you. I blushed. Isn't that weird? ENA? The replies were merciless. What kind of fake friend are you? Won't even let him warm himself up inside you? Another added, it's just sex, man. It's what bros do. And you're an alpha, you can't get pregnant. What's the big deal? Stop being so dramatic. They had a point. I put my phone down and climbed onto the bed. Ethan immediately turned off his screen and asked if I'd taken my throat lozenges. In the soft glow of the night light, his shirt was unbuttoned, his eyes shimmering. The waves of his scent were a silent invitation. Even with an inhibitor in my system, my gland was hot. I took a deep breath, pulled off my shorts, and mumbled for him to just get inside me. He looked stunned, then a slow smile spread across his face. He asked if I was sure. I explained, red-faced, that my hands were about to fall off and that the internet said as long as he didn't knot inside me. It wasn't a permanent bond, and it was a common way for guys in the city to help each other. He was quiet for a moment before asking, his voice thick, if this was my choice. He told me I could still get dressed and leave. I burrowed under the covers, my voice muffled. I was sure. As he moved over me, I heard him let out a soft, satisfied sigh. I made a mental note to thank those kind strangers online. It wasn't as simple as I thought. 10 minutes later, I was a sweaty, tense mess. He whispered for me to relax, his voice impossibly gentle as he kissed my neck. He murmured that if I couldn't even take 3 fingers, he didn't know how I would handle the real thing. Sometime before dawn, after his scent had completely colonized my body, the heat in the room finally began to fade. 10 days later, thanks to my selfless sacrifice, his rut was over. He held my limp body in the bathtub, playing with my fingers. He thanked me. I was boneless, draped over him like a wet noodle, and mumbled that when my time came, he owed me one. I heard him chuckle softly. Back in my dorm, the air was thick with the pheromones of Jake and Noah. As I opened the window, Jake appeared at my side, a grin on his face. He asked if I had slept with Ethan. I was shocked, asking how he knew. He rolled his eyes, pointing out that my gland was bitten raw and I reeked of lime. The embarrassment was intense. I grabbed a change of clothes and took another shower. After that, things weren't the same. He still walked me to class, picked cilantro out of my food, brought me water at basketball practice, but I couldn't be casual anymore. A simple touch of our fingers sent a jolt through me, and when I saw other alphas or omegas confessing to him, a hot, ugly jealousy churned in my stomach. One afternoon, after watching him politely turn down yet another admirer, I walked over and pressed my hand over his smiling mouth. He raised an eyebrow. I told him his smile was too damn inviting. He froze for a second, then his smile returned, wider and brighter than before. My heart skipped a beat, and my gland throbbed. He promised he would only smile like that for me from now on. At dinner, I casually asked about his mysterious alpha crush. He was busy peeling a shrimp and placing it in my bowl. He said he'd won him over, but the guy was a little slow and hadn't realized it yet. I felt a familiar irritation bubble up. I asked what his plan was, if he was going to confess. He said no. He was going to propose. On Valentine's Day, 3 days from now. The shrimp suddenly tasted like ash. That night, I texted my friend Cody. Hypothetically, my friend helped his friend through a rut by sleeping with him for 10 days. Now his friend is about to propose to someone else, and my friend feels like crap. What's going on? Cody's reply was a string of questions about Ethan's size and performance. I told him to stop guessing, that it was about my friend. He replied, okay. Your friend is in love with his friend's friend. He's jealous. I denied it, saying our relationship was purely platonic, just 2 bros helping each other out. Cody sent back a wall of text about how bros don't do what we did, that I was a fool, and that best bros and husbands were often the same thing. I told him he didn't understand. The next 2 days were torture. Then, a text from Ethan. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. The Grand Seasons Hotel, room 999. Be there. I asked if I had to go. The thought of watching him belong to someone else was painful. His reply was uncharacteristically firm. You have to be there. On Valentine's Day, I was cornered in an alley by Dylan, an omega who had been pursuing me for 2 years. He held out a bouquet of roses with a CR card nestled in them, declaring his love, promising to support me, to give me a whole soccer team of kids. I had rejected him dozens of times. My patience was gone. As I tried to push past him, a thick, cloying scent of musk filled the air. His mating pheromones. My gland flared, and a dangerous heat pooled in my stomach. He tore open his collar, exposing his neck, and lunged for me. I grabbed him, shoved him and his flowers into a dumpster, and told him through gritted teeth that his pheromones were disgusting, and I wouldn't touch him even if my life depended on it. My head was spinning. I called 911 for him, then stumbled toward the hotel, my body on fire. The hotel room door swung open, and I fell into Ethan's arms. He caught me, his hands registering my feverish skin. He asked if I was in heat. I was too far gone to speak, pressing myself against him, seeking the comfort of his scent. He was wearing a blocker patch, his lime scent too faint. It wasn't enough. I shoved him onto the massive bed behind us and climbed on top of him, my hands fumbling with his belt. He let me, a passive look on his face as I straddled him. My body was an agony of need, tears of frustration leaking from my eyes. He whispered for me not to cry, that he would help me. In one smooth motion, he reversed our positions. He wiped my tears away before pressing me into the mattress. He ripped off his blocker patch, and the clean, crisp scent of lime finally washed over me, chasing away the nauseating musk. My entire being screamed for more. Just as he was about to enter me, I grabbed him, my mind foggy but still remembering my promise. I told him it was my turn to be on top. He raised an eyebrow, a slow, predatory smile spreading across his lips. He agreed. He let me flip us over, let me sit astride him. Then, his hands clamped onto my waist, and with one powerful thrust, he drove himself deep inside me. He watched my eyes lose focus and began to move. My first heat was a 5-day blur of sensation. When I finally came to my senses, I was surrounded by the wreckage of 1,000 roses. I apologized for ruining his proposal. He was lounging on the sofa, looking deeply satisfied. He said it wasn't too late. I started to gather my clothes, assuming I should leave. But then he opened a velvet box. He told me to marry him. My brain short-circuited. Shock, disbelief, and beneath it all, a dizzying, secret joy. I asked him if the alpha he liked was me. He just smiled, a fond, exasperated look on his face, and called me a fool. He said even Jake and Noah had figured it out. I pinched myself. It hurt. It was real. He asked again. I looked into his beautiful, gentle eyes, and the frantic pounding in my chest finally made sense. Cody was right. I had fallen in love with him and had been too stupid to see it. I nodded, my face burning. A platinum diamond ring slid onto my left ring finger. It was a perfect fit. I asked him when he had started planning all this. He just pulled me down onto the sofa, kissing the corner of my eye, and whispered, "My first time." I quickly added that it was my first time too. He bit my lip gently, then unwrapped a strawberry-flavored condom and continued where we'd left off. But this time, he was rougher, more intense, his dark eyes fixed on my lower abdomen. He asked if he had ever been there. I was confused, asking what he meant. He thrust deeper. That sandalwood scent. He said I'd even offered to be an O for him. Finally clicked. I laughed, cupping his face and kissing him soundly. I called him a jealous fool and explained that I had been eating spicy crawfish that night, and the white stuff was yogurt. The tension finally left his face. I teased him, marveling that the great Ethan could get a question wrong. He gave a short, dangerous laugh. From the sofa to the bathroom to the full-length mirror. When the strawberry condoms ran out, he opened a box of cheesecake-flavored ones. I tried to escape, but he caught my ankle and dragged me back, his voice a low, seductive drawl. It was fine to get the question wrong, he murmured against my skin, as long as he got me right. The night was long. Our scents, lime and honey, became one. They said it was hard to fully mark an alpha, but he was an enigma. He broke through my defenses, nodded deep inside me, and claimed me. He was mine now. Permanent mark.